How you doing, Oregonians? All right, I'm out here. My name is Ronnie Daniels. Some people know me on the radio as the Black Redneck. Some people know in the roping world know me as Huckleberry. But nevertheless, I'm just a good, cold-hearted American with a compassion from Hades. But nevertheless, we're out here to talk about the Second Amendment, right? Okay. Remember in 1775, Lexington Concord, we had Methodist ministers, Lutherans, and everybody else leading the charge against the British to take back their liberties, to make this country free. At the same time, the reason they had done that is because our Representatives Adams and Franklin went to England. They had to be disarmed. They had a law there set up by the British Parliament. People, we gotta vote. We gotta remember this stuff, people. The history's not being taught to our children. We gotta pass it down. In this situation today, we're at critical crossroads. And I say, who's all from Southern Oregon? Give me a shout. Give me a shout from east of the Cascades. Come on now. What about the coastal folks? And what about the valley people? Come on. All right, now let's look at the results of last time we had an election. Number one, 32% east of the Cascades does not help things. 39% south doesn't help things. 46% along the coast don't help things, and 53% to 59% from which county you're in does not help things. If we want change, we want to keep our liberties under the Second Amendment, take away the perspective from those of the far left that wants to devour and slowly just cook us, you know, put the boiling frog in the water, maybe throw a little seasoning salt or maybe throw some bouillon in there, just sort of make you feel comfortable. Well, keep going down the road. Just be apathetic. Don't get together. Don't talk to the people in your neighborhoods. I talk to everybody locally. I went through in the last election, I talked to over 2,700 people. I'm just a black redneck that just don't have no common sense because the Lord says I got to do what I got to do. But nevertheless, people, we have to, I don't care what color, I don't care what your background is, I don't care if you're libertarian, left, right, whatever the heck else. The art of persuasion is got to be involved, not by saying we got to do this. Each of us was endowed by a creator free will. And the consequences or rewards that goes with it. That's something they've been taught in Florida to that kid, you know? No accountability. But overall, we have to stand up. We have to be not afraid and hiding in the cracks, worrying about this group or that group, this person. You also got to be able to, your families, you got to come together. Yeah, I know this last election just torn everybody's north, south, east, and west apart. But we got to come together on the common sense of the agenda. This agenda is to keep and preserve our liberties, our Second Amendment rights that's been endowed by our Creator. We have to be able to do this. In order we got to win, east of the Cascades, we got to get 68% to 73%. Southern Oregon, we got to get at least 65 to 70%. In the valley, we got to get at least 58 to 65%. And on the coast, we got to at least do 61 to 64%. And we can win it. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Stop worrying about Portland. Their voting numbers has been dropping since 2012. Stop. You got to realize this. We have the power. Our Creator give us that power. We have it in our Constitution for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. If we lose the Second Amendment and be like Australia, what they've gone through, and they start picking away, automatics, then all of a sudden shotgun, then all of a sudden you got to belong to a certain club. So who's in those clubs? The George Soros members, the Bloombergs, you know. You got to realize, people, these are rights. Just like the times after Solomon and David. Jeroboam says, hey, let's take the yokes off our neck and everything else. What happened? Until Asa came along 4 generations later. They was living in slavery. The ones that had small businesses was being forced out and extorted. Do you want to be like Venezuela, first world nation now in a third world crap hole? 6.5 million barrels, they're down to 1.5 million barrels. Who's the richest person? Hugo Chavez's daughter. You want to empower them for your security? Like our founding father said, if you trade security for your liberties, you shall have neither. And I want y'all to remember this. I don't give a rat about color because I got 37 godchildren in 17 states. They're anything from Filipino all the way down to Irish Cherokee. And I'm going to tell you, love thy neighbor as you love thyself, as the Lord say. He said, love those with all your heart. And not love the Lord with all your heart, not lead your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. And at the last of it, please talk to everybody. If I can talk to, and I'm just a grain of sand, a lot of times they play basketball at Croc Center or McMinnville or whatever the heck else, and I get gas, or I go in the grocery store, and they see me with this, they see this little black guy coming in with a hat, you know, sound like Puerto Rican redneck, you know. But nevertheless, guys, if I can go through and just mention the basic facts, always relates to dollars cost, especially with the extra taxes, our good governor, who's being funded by the enemy, the Nazi traitor of Hungary himself, Soros. When you got people like that, you need to point that out. This is history. If we don't do it, how are we going to make the change that we need in Oregon? I want to see Oregon red. I want to see it all red. But nevertheless, God bless you. God bless Oregon.